Hello, everyone. This is Maureen from High Point Reiki and Readings.com, and I am here again to give you your message for the week. And I'm going to do a little something extra this time. I am also going to give my energetic impression for the week ahead. So let's do that, and then I'll tell you what the two pile choices are. You can make your selection, and then I'll timestamp the different options in the description box so you can click on whichever one is for you, whichever messages you're meant to receive. So, the general energetic impression I get for the week is that you're going to be potentially around a lot of people and have a lot of experiences that are out of the ordinary for you. Many of you are celebrating holidays, but many of you probably aren't. So, either way, something is going to come into your atmosphere that's going to kind of give you a revelation or an epiphany of sorts. And what I want to warn you about is don't judge it immediately. So if it feels bad, don't assume it's bad. And if it feels super great, don't assume it's super great. You're going to get the initial feeling, revelation, epiphany, whatever. Don't react to it immediately. Give it a couple days. Let yourself process it. Process it in your head, in your heart, in your body, wherever you need to. And then just wait and see what happens, because I feel like more will be revealed. More will come to mind. If you're in touch with your guides, ask them to help you see it clearly. If you want to meditate on it, if you want to reflect on it, just say, I want to see this information or this experience clearly. But give yourself a little time. Don't react immediately to whatever it is that happens. So that was the big message. And now I'm going to show you the choices of your selections this week. So you're going to pick one of these symbols. And we have the wonderful, whimsical Care Bears. And if you don't know about them, you're probably much younger than I am. And the same may be true for this, though they're around quite a bit. These are the Golden Girls. So we have the Golden Girls. That's Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, and Sophia. At the bottom it says, thank you for being a friend. This was a gift from a friend, so thank you, friend, for that gift. And these are the Care Bears. They hail from my childhood, which was probably a very long time ago to you. And this beautiful artwork surrounding it was done with the help of my son, who has great artistic eye and choice of color. So shout out to Leo for helping me dress this up a bit. But in case you're wondering, that's Lucky Bear up in the corner, and that's Tenderheart Bear down in the bottom corner. So those are your two choices. We've got the Care Bears and we've got the Golden Girls. So decide now which pile you want to go with. And I am going to do the Care Bear pile first. So if that's the one you're going to choose, just hold on. And if not, you can go to the timestamps and click over to the Golden Girls one. Okay, so I'm going to pause it so I can get ready for it. Okay, so for the people who selected the Care Bears, feel free to explore them more if you need a cartoon group of bears that bring wonderful elements of love into your life. So I haven't looked at these cards yet, so we're finding them all out together. So the two cards, and I believe one of these came through last week, are Laugh in Its Face and Coffee Talk. So because Coffee Talk came up last week, you're going to get a chance to see how intuition plays into this. So let's start with these cards, actually. So there's what I'm picking up. I'm already tuned in with my guides. I did that before I started the video. So what they're telling me is Coffee Talk is about facing something that's plaguing you. In this case, it's a personal matter. And it's something that you may be able to receive help for it eventually, but first you need to confront it. You need to say, you know, this thing keeps happening to me and it really upsets me and it really disappoints me and it makes my life so much harder. So that means you need to take a good look at what that is, that pattern that keeps repeating, and say, what am I missing? What am I doing that I could do differently to change the impact on my life, to make my life more joyful, more happy, etc. Just better. Laugh in Its Face is really the general meaning in my mind for this card is, you know, don't be afraid because it's not actually going to hurt you. And I feel that's very pertinent to go with this card in this context because you've been so afraid to look at this issue. You don't feel like you're strong enough. You don't feel like you're brave enough to address it, to do the things you need to do to make it better. And this is saying you absolutely are. You're absolutely ready to handle it. And I want to say, if reaching out for help is the thing you haven't done yet, then do that. Maybe you've already thought about this, pondered this in your head. Maybe you've struggled with it for months or years. I feel like that's true for some of you. So don't be afraid to say, you know what? Maybe I can't figure this out on my own. Let me reach out to anyone from a friend to a therapist to a doctor, depending on what the issue is and what needs to be done. Okay. So I'm not sure why. But I feel the need to pick different cards. So I am going to do that now. And you are welcome to watch as I do this. Got my little box of cards here. These are the cards. My son, who helped with the Care Bear thing, he also made this in school with paint. So in case you wanted to see more of his artwork, there you go. So we just want 2 cards for the Care Bear group here. Oh, okay, there's one. Let's see what this card is. Oh, very pretty. We'll go over that. Wow, it looks orange. Sorry, I guess my camera might show things a little differently there. One more card for them. One more card. Okay, so there's the second one. Okay, so upon receiving these cards, a little more insight is available to us now. Sorry, just want to make sure I put these back the right way. So I'm going to move these cards for now. So I'm starting to feel like, because of this is a card with a mourning dove on it. They have my favorite bird call of all time, so I love them. And this one's very pretty. It has some pink and stuff on it. It says, a joyous morning, Mourning, like the moments that bring smiles amidst the weeping. And then this other one, the hues of morning can surpass the dreams from which you have just woken. So it looks orange here, but it's actually red and purple, believe it or not. Sorry. It's not coming through the same way on the camera. So what I think here is that you're mourning something. It could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be an activity that you used to love to do and you can't do it anymore. And maybe you either haven't come to acceptance with it or you haven't gotten over the fact that you can't do that anymore. And the best way to get over grief is to remember all the good that came out of what is now being taken from you. So if it was a person, talk to people about how that person impacted their life positively. Talk about how they still think about them, or just think of those things yourself. Think about the wonderful, fabulous things that they used to do when they were around for you. And yeah, it'll probably make you cry, but that's good. That's cleansing. That's purging the emotions that still need to come out, you know? I mean, it's never fun to cry, especially when you get into that big heaving cry and there's a bunch of boogers and everything. Like, yeah, nobody looks forward to that. But after you're done crying, you feel a lightness. Something has gotten out of your system. The worst part of the energy is pushed out, and now you have room to think about whatever you need to think about, deal with whatever you need to deal with. You've gotten the ickiest part of the emotions out already. And for this one, the hues of morning can surpass the dreams from which you have just woken. So what I think here is, though this speaks of dreams, I think it's about staying stuck in that place where you still had the thing you're missing. If you constantly crave and yearn and wish, and obviously if it's a new occurrence and you're not to the part where you're starting to work it all out of your system or lessen it or diminish it, don't push yourself into that place if you're not ready. If you're still crying every day, if you're still sad every day, that's okay. But what this card is saying is don't stay there forever, because you are missing things in life. There are still wonderful, beautiful things out there. And when you feel ready to take that step back out into the world, it's going to be there for you, waiting for you. And you're going to see it. But you have to be willing to step out there. So, thinking about something you've lost and coming to terms within yourself about, yeah, it's gone. Like, I have to admit it. I have no choice. There's no going back, If you face that and then you say, this isn't going to kill me though. I'm going to be okay. Even if you're not okay today or not okay next week, just start talking to yourself and say, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. It's going to be hurt and pain and sadness, but I'm going to get through this. And if you need to reach out and talk to somebody, reach out and talk to somebody. Don't wait for that either, okay? If you really feel overwhelmed by the emotions you're having, get some help from somebody. Reach out to someone you love, or like I said, a therapist, whatever you need, maybe a support group. Just don't be afraid to to reach out and connect with people who can help you. It's, there's nothing shameful about being sad about something for a really long time. But if it's been a very long time and you feel the same as you did on the first day, it may be time to talk about it with somebody. Because there's something, it's not meant to stay that way forever. It's meant to change. It's meant to diminish. Your memory, if it's a person, your memory of them isn't ever going to diminish. I mean, you may forget memories here and there, but they're always going to be a presence in your life, and they're always going to be sending you love, and you can continue to send their love. You can talk to them if you want to. They'll hear you. So, but they wouldn't want you to stay in a deep, dark hole of sadness and not experience what joys of life still remain. So just, think about that. Consider reaching out to someone if you need to. That's a pretty sad message for the Care Bears. I'm sorry if you picked this one hoping for something joyful, but it is joyful because healing is joyful, and acknowledging what's in your heart and your emotions is joyful. It's empowering, and it lets you know that you're okay. It lets you know that you're going to keep going. It lets you know that you can do this. The whole laugh in its face thing. Maybe laughing isn't the right emotion for this particular context, but basically, look at the situation and say, I'm really sad right now. I need a little more time to deal with what's going on and get over it, but I'm going to be okay. And if you feel like you can't say that, then reach out to somebody immediately, okay? But there is more joy awaiting you. It may be a little bit of work to do, but don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to, you're not dishonoring a person or a thing by moving on from it if the time has come to move on. So, especially if it's a person who loved you, they would want to see you happy again. So, don't hesitate. And if you feel like you're not in a place where you can do that, again, reach out to somebody and get help. Even if it's just a friend. Okay, so that is the end of the Care Bear segment. I'm so sorry that it was much sadder than you would expect from the Care Bear. But now we're going to move on to the Golden Girls. So, hold on for a second while I switch it over. All right, so we're back. And those of you who chose the Golden Girls as your pile for this week, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend and watching these readings. I appreciate it. And if you don't know who the Golden Girls are, you really should find out. They're awesome and amazing. So are the Care Bears, but the Golden Girls are fantastic and funny and wise. But anyway, we are talking about cards, right? So, the two of the handmade cards that came out are Smile First and Creativity. I feel like these came out last time too. I'm not sure what's going on this week. So, Smile First means to get yourself in a good mood before, okay, so that's, sorry, they kind of interrupted me, like, duh. Get yourself in a happy place, get yourself in a joyful place, and then create something. And have fun while you're doing it. And I have a feeling if you do this, you're going to discover something about yourself you didn't know before. and it may lead to bigger and better things. Okay, so these two cards, which I hadn't looked at yet, bear with me because they may sound more harrowing than they actually are. So this one says, "'Tis better to walk, though all you see is the path, the horizon comes." That means, to me, in this context especially, that you've been on some kind of rough journey. You've been through a lot of crap lately. I would say over a couple of months. Well, guess what? Keep going. You're almost there. You really are. But, according to this card, it says, "Bravery can smile in the face of deep anguish. It can also cry." So what I'm picking up here is there are some emotions you should be expressing that you're not. And I don't know why. Maybe you have trouble with expressing your emotions that way. You can do it when you're alone. You can do it when you're by yourself. You can do it in your car. You can do it in your bedroom, wherever. It doesn't matter. Just get it out. Write it down on a piece of paper. Maybe if you don't even want to say it out loud because hearing it would be too big of an impact for you, then write it down on a piece of paper. And you know what? After you're done, if you want to tear it up, you can tear it up. That's fine too. It's about processing. You need to process in a different way because all this thinking you've been doing about it isn't helping. You're kind of still in the same rut, right? And things are looking better, but if you want to take a big jump further down the path, get some of those emotions out that have been dragging you down. If you wanna get like way up here instead of here, like quickly, or maybe up here, who knows? The potential is endless. You gotta let something out, and I think that's what they're talking about with the creativity. That's why they picked creativity. Because if you use your creativity, it's a way to express yourself in a, well, it could go either way. It could go very, very deep and personal, or it could feel kind of detached for some people. But anyway, the action of creating is also going to help because the movement of creating, like, don't make up a story in your head if you're a writer, or a poem in your head. Write it down. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't even have to, save it. Like I said, you can, as soon as you're done, you can tear it up if you hate it or it's too hard for you to read again. You don't ever want to see it again. But still, do the action. Do the action of writing. If you take photographs, do the action of taking a photograph. If you paint, do the action of painting. And I have a feeling that when you do this, if you do this, and I hope you do, some emotions are going to surface. And that might create a little disruption. I'm not saying for a long time, but, right after you're done, or maybe for the day after, you might just be a little more sensitive. So just be aware of that, and let that kind of flow through. Don't follow it. Don't give in to it. But there's some kind of bitterness or sadness that you haven't released that really needs that. It needs to get out of there because it's holding you back. It's keeping you walking in place on this path, and you need to be up here. Like, you should already be up there. And I'm not saying you did anything wrong. You're doing whatever felt right to you. But just give yourself a little time to be creative. Like, I knocked them both over. Give yourself a little time to be creative. Try to get a smile back on your face. Because let's be honest, if you're a person who has a creative hobby, it's fun to do that stuff, right? And if you haven't done it for a while, go do it. It's important. It feeds your soul. It moves the energy, especially if you're dealing with something, it can help move that energy around and even shift the perspective in your head and say, oh, I didn't think of it that way before. I never thought to try that. That kind of thing happens when you take any action. But I think in this case, what they're recommending is take an action that's personal. Take an action that you're going to do probably by yourself. So get yourself, so they're not saying you have to paint with a big smile on your face. What they're saying is get yourself up to where you can create something. And then just you don't even have to think about it this way, but whatever needs to be released or needs to be moved around in your energy will be moved by the act of creating. That's what they're saying. And you're no braver if you stay stolid than if you cry, than if you break down into tears. Both of those are brave actions. Okay? So don't let anybody tell you different. And if you do tend to be around people who say things like that to you, then make sure they're not around when you... But let yourself, if you want to cry, then cry. Because even that action is going to move some energy around. It's going to clear out some muck. And then you're going to have a lot more insight, a better perspective, a kind of shift that's going to guide you into the right direction. So just get creative. Get yourself up to a point. I don't even care, if you draw a stick figure on a piece of paper. Maybe you can paint Rembrandt-esque paintings. Maybe you are capable of that. But if you don't feel up to that, then draw a stick figure. Draw whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just have to do something that's expressive and involves an action. So if you're into cooking or baking, you can do that. If you're into photography, you can do that. If you are a visual artist, if you're a musician, whatever. If you're a musician, and maybe you're generally very good at writing songs, but you don't feel like you can write any songs lately, then just play through a couple of your old songs. Just play the music. It doesn't even have to be yours. Play a cover song that you really like. Just take some action toward creativity, because if you do, you're going to start moving along this path again. And if you whether you end up just feeling lighter and better and you're able to smile again, or if you end up crying your guts out, it doesn't matter, because both of those are appropriate responses. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't allow that. You are entitled to whatever emotions you want to have about something. If that results in you harming other people, you may want to evaluate that. But if you're angry about something, if you want to cry about something and somebody tells you that's not appropriate, I'll tell you this. Something that I learned over the past couple of years is when I feel a frustration building up in the realm of anger, because that can be the most jarring thing, especially to experience in public. Most people think crying is horrible because, everyone's going to see you and it's the vulnerability thing. But anger can actually have really serious repercussions, and especially if you get really, really angry. So one good thing to do is, if you feel the frustration building up, just say out loud, I feel myself getting very frustrated. I'm feeling very angry right now. Just say it out loud enough so you can hear it. You don't have to announce it to everybody in the room, but just acknowledge your emotion and speak it out loud. I can't guarantee this, but when I do it, it decreases by like 50%. So, like, I would have been, hitting the roof on the anger about to explode. And if I say that statement out loud, I'm really angry right now, down there. And now I'm in a position where I can remove myself if needed. I can try to walk away from the situation. Something like that. I can take a more wise action. If I just let it keep building and building and building, maybe I would say something I regret. And, we've all done that in our lives, right? But that's a really good way to kind of decrease. At least I've found that if you decide to try it and it works for you, then let me know, because I was so excited when I figured that out. I was like, oh, I can say what I'm feeling and it reduces the feeling that I'm having well enough that I can, figure out a way to cope with it and avoid something, unnecessary to happen. I've never tried it with crying. Maybe it would help with crying too. Say, I'm very sad right now. I feel like I want to cry. Maybe it would reduce that too. Hey, if anybody wants to experiment with that and report back, we would all appreciate it, I think. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. Sorry I went on for so long. And if you've never heard of these shows, go look them up. They're amazing. The Golden Girls is especially great if you're not into cartoons, but you are into kind of sassy older ladies. And the Care Bears is just cuddly, fun, brimming with love. So, but anyway, have a great holiday or not holiday or just day off work. Hopefully you at least get that. And I will see you again next week. Bye.